putting this stator together, or just the whole wind turbine, but mainly tonight was the stator. And here are the two rotors for it that I've already completed. You'll notice maybe that they got a little color to them. When I did the epoxy, I took paint, I used this kind of stuff, and I just tried it out and it actually worked really good in the epoxy when I cast them. And sprayed a few sprays, not much at all, in the mix when I was mixing it. And I had a red can and did that and tried the yellow out in there, and came out pretty good. Looks kind of cool. And I just, after I cleaned them up, clear coated them with some real good clear coat, automotive stuff. And these rotors actually have 30 magnets. They're 1 inch by 1/2 inch by 1/4 inch. And those go with the stator, and this is what I was putting together just today. And these are 27 coils, 14 gauge at 40 turns. Kind of experimental as far as the size and number and all that stuff, so I think it'll do pretty good. I'm not sure exactly what voltage and power it's going to put out, but it'll be going up soon, so I think it'll do pretty good. So, and see what else. Mentioned a few things. Oh yeah, just the process of putting this together. When I did these coils, when I set them in here, to hold them in place while I wired them, I put one screw in between, or in the middle of each one, after I laid all this out, you know, and then put all the coils out. And before I wired them, I put a screw in the middle, and then I took hot glue gun and filled it up. So later on, after I cast it, I could peel off this hot glue, or silicone could work too, I think. But I think hot glue hold a little more, a little stronger when you're working on the wires and getting them connected so they're not moving. And that way I could pull that stuff out later on. And then I left these avoid in my first stator I did too, just for the sake of keeping it cool if it ever tends to get a little hot. So you got that void there and keeping some air moving through those coils. And other than that, just 3/8 plywood, and this, and you cover with some kind of, I don't know, I have this kind of rubber roofing material here, this white stuff, and similar stuff on top. Actually, it's like flooring, linoleum tile. And oh yeah, and if you're not very good at soldering, or you just want a quicker way to connect these wires, what I first did to connect them, or you got to clean off the enamel obviously, and I used a Dremel, or rotary tool with like a sanding drum or something like that, and that made it a lot easier, a lot quicker to clean the enamel off the wires when you're getting ready to connect those. First time I did that, and it worked real good. Another thing is soldering, like I was saying. If you're not good at soldering, or sometimes just a pain in the butt, especially when you got to do 27 coils. I use these things. They're I think they call them like solder seal or something like that. But they're what they are is they're a heat shrink with solder in the middle, and it's like the purple color is a glue, and so that shrinks and melts, and solders it all in one. And just make sure you got a nice, a good strong heat gun. And yeah, you can see it melts them down, like, and it seeps into all the wire around there, and then seals it all up, and all in one shot. I mean, it's a good way to go. Made this connection, task a heck of a lot easier, faster, and it came out real clean. So yeah, solder seal, I would definitely and if you don't have a solder gun, you get a heat gun. It's just an easier way to go, faster too. And as long as you clean off the wire good, and get a good lap. And I twisted the wires together, and then I slid that over. So made sure I sanded them, inch, at least on each one, and lapped them an inch, and then twisted them together, and then slid that over, melted on, and should have a real good solid connection there. So just some tips on that. And yeah, not much is making this form and casting on, which I'm going to do in a little bit. pretty self-explanatory. I mean, you can form this stuff with whatever. This I used some 12 gauge wire, you know, and usually the same solder seal, connected those to the last wires, the ends, and then got my 3-phase coming out here. So yeah, mentioned this is a 3-phase alternator, in case it's you're wondering. And yeah, it's 12 gauge wire coming out there, and just about ready to cast. And that's my top piece to cap it off when I screw it on. I cast it and box it all in, let it set. So, and while I'm taking a video, this isn't for that that wind turbine, but it's for a bigger one. It's my first and only all aluminum rotor, and instead of 3 blades I went with 4. And this blade shape and size I've used, but in fiberglass before, and they've worked real good. And you can see it's got quite a curve on it, so it definitely scoops the wind, and it starts moving just about any breeze at all. Use the slightest breeze in these, and my fiberglass ones will start turning real easy. So it's all 100% aluminum except for those bolts. And I haven't weighed it yet, but it's light, so which is real nice. And then I welded on a big solid piece of cylinder billet aluminum with a 1-inch hole drilled through for the axle. This is to space it out when it goes on the tower, because my first one I put up, tips of the blade were hitting part of the tower, so making sure I'm not doing that again, because I tore up a set of blades. And that's actually the tower. It's dark, but it's only about 15 feet up. But that's my kind of testing area. So, but I just wanted to show that. And it's all, I did weld all this aluminum. It's can't really see on this side, but wasn't a whole lot to weld. I mean, the centerpiece a little bit, and a little bit of bracing on the back side of the blades. That's it. So I think that's about it, at least for this video. Oh yeah, and this is another tower. This is a 20-foot tower I will have going up at some point. This is a more permanent one. Actually, I built it out of number 4 1/2-inch rebar, and then crossed it up with a 1/4-inch rod, you know, to brace it, just like they do in like telephone towers or something. And came out real well. It's real sturdy, real stiff, and actually in 2 pieces, 2 10-foot pieces there. And so be a nice tower, real sturdy, hold a lot of weight, because my first wind turbine was actually about 140 or 50 pounds, heavy rotors. So, all right. Well, hope you enjoy, and this is helpful in some way. And if you got any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and leave comments in the bottom. Thanks.